Chapter 8, Muslim Kills Muslim, Arrested, Prison. The second election for Parliament drew closer. I had announced my candidacy, but had to wait for the time of formal enrollment before I could begin campaigning. I believe that the mullah's repressions had alarmed many exhausted Iranians, causing them to look for a way to save their country, which was on a path to unsustainable bankruptcy. I was disappointed and decided to stay away from the Islamic political philosophy this time. I was trying to align my desires with the nation's cultural wisdom and hoped to rise as an Iranian star along with other Iranian zealots and save the country from the mullah's tyranny. Little did I know that the mullahs did not believe in elections, and they only allowed an election to find out who their competitors were. Once they identified a rival, they did every vicious thing in their power to destroy them and those patriotic Iranians who genuinely loved their country and wanted freedom. The mullahs did everything they could to stop individuals from uniting people under the umbrella of their national culture. What mattered for them were the values of Islam. They not only showed hostility to the Iranian culture, but tried to destroy its power to unify the various communities of the nation. At this time, we started to dig into our country's history and unearth the politics of the ancient-day Arabian Islamists who dominated our country. The motto they spread around was that Islam was perfect and Islamism could give them everything. Because of this, the people desired to adopt the religion Islam. The truth was the Arabs invaded Iran, but found they could not rule over this developed nation easily. To dominate every aspect of Iranian life, they used a similar tactic to what our contemporary mullahs used before the revolution of 1979. They too had promised prosperity and a peaceful and respectful Islam, which later destroyed the peace of the nation and treated the Iranians as second-class citizens. Deep in our hearts, we were so sorry that we had not investigated the Islamists' political philosophy and were not wise enough to see the mullahs' deceits. We trusted their empty words and thought that their values would give us more than the kingdom of the Shah. Their post-revolutionary attitudes caused us to blame ourselves for opposing the Shah, under whose kingdom we had a measure of freedom and were able to call ourselves Iranians. Now, not only did we lose the hope of freedom under the mullah's dictatorship, we lost the hope to live. Freedom of speech became something imagined, which we could only long for under their suppression. Not only this, our families were living in horror. Any time we heard the bell on our gate ringing, we would think that it could be religious guards come to take us somewhere unknown. Our homely comforts were giving way to increasing fear and horror. Soon enough, it was my turn to be abducted and taken away. My wife and I and our 3-year-old daughter went to visit my in-laws in the city one night. A man with several guards went to my mother's house, saying that he had come from Rash, the capital city of our state Gilan, and wanted to discuss the upcoming election with me. Unable to speak Persian, my mother called my older brother to speak with the man. When my brother informed him where I was, he asked my brother to take him and his companions to me. My brother drove his own car and they followed him. When they reached the house, my brother was thanked and told that he could go. 2 of the men rang the bell and asked for me to go to the gate to speak with Dr. Kazai, who was the chief executive officer of the head office of the branch subsidiary organization, Building Jihad, which I led before. Out of respect, my brother-in-law asked them to come in and have a cup of tea with us. My brother-in-law came and told me 2 guards are at the gate saying that Dr. Kazai is parked in his car and wants to speak with you. Dr. Kazai and I respected each other, and he was aware of the mullah's hatred of me. I went to the gate and asked the guards, "Where is Dr. Kazai? My goodness, why is he not coming in?" One of them responded, "We are only accompanying him. He's in the car. He does not have much time. Would you please come to the car and have a short chat with him? We have to go as soon as possible." I went to the car, looked in, and saw the other 2 guards, but Dr. Kazai was not in the car. I immediately realized I had a problem. I said to the 2 young guards outside, "Dr. Kazai is not in the car." They said they were Kazai's friends and had come to convey a message. They wanted me to get into the car, but I refused. As I started to walk away, they brought out their guns from under their coats, put them to my head, and pushed me into the car. The thugs covered my head and face with a beanie, handcuffed me, and drove the car through various streets so that I was no longer able to determine our direction. Eventually, I found myself in a horrifying place, the prison of the Revolutionary Guard in my hometown. Unaware what the consequence of my complaint would be in a political prison, I complained to them and said, "Did you need to kidnap me at nighttime? I'm not a fugitive. I'm always in the city, in the streets, and shopping centers. You could have come to me any time you wanted. Why do you take pleasure in causing pain to my family? Why didn't you want them to know that you guards have brought me here? Though I do not like to recall the horrifying moments in prison, these questions plague me during that painful time. They were also significant after my escape from Iran and subsequent conversion to Christ in Turkey. I read Jesus' comments to the crowd, which was sent by Jewish priests and elders to arrest him. I became overcome with emotion as I recalled my own experience. I discovered that Jesus asked the same question of the multitude upon his arrest in the dark of night. Socially, politically, and emotionally, I was able to identify my pains with his pains and was ready to listen to his story. I know now that he allowed these things, though painful, so that one day they would draw my attention to him.